Hello, welcome into the March altar space for another Sunday week ahead card pull for the collective. Now, this happens to be the final full week of March, believe it or not. So we are going to be wrapping it up with some of our selected decks. And the next time we meet here for a collective week ahead card pull, you're going to see our April altar space where spring has sprung here. Now that we have come through Equinox, 𝓘𝓷𝓽𝓾, we are definitely feeling all of those fresh vibes of rebirth and renewal coming in here. So we are going to pull a card tonight from our Seasons of the Witch 𝓘𝓷𝓽𝓮 Oracle. And we're also going to be doing our week ahead spread with the beautiful Gentle Tarot for the final time, as well as the Song of the Grandmother's Oracle for our wrapping up of the week's message. So you may see a couple backs here because I have already tuned in and chosen two of the elements that we will tap into this week. I was curious which of the Melodic Moods Tarot musical artists would come forward, and I'm super excited. That's this one. And then over here, we have this Sign of the Times Oracle, which if you caught the Signs of the Times pick a card that I did this week over on the Empowerment Sharecast here or in one of my social media spaces, you'll be familiar. If you didn't see that, check it out for a fun message for yourself. I did put the reveal of the pick a card that we did last week on both my Empowerment Sharecast and on YouTube. So if you're new here in the Empowerment Sharecast, this is my free space tucked away from the noise of social media where we tune in throughout the month for weekly collective card pulls. I also offer you a complimentary personal card pull each week, and we have some other fun spiritual musings with our intuitive tarot and oracle card reading, as well as bringing in color, crystal, astrology, numerology, all the fun things to weave together some guidance, insight, and awareness that is all about your empowerment, empowering you to connect with your own wise self, your intuition, with some awareness as you step into, in this case, the next week coming up. We will pull some cards here in a moment for that spread, and then we will also be chatting about the numerous astrological weather aspects we have rolling through this week too. So let's reveal who and what came forward. I love it. For this week, OMG, we've got We Are the Champions, Freddie Mercury, Queen as the Six of Wands. And just so beautifully, we also tuned into peace, harmony with this energy of card 12 from the Signs of the Times, giving us a frequency of 1 and 2 being the 3 energy, which is so beautiful because 3 brings forward collective, collaborative, cooperative energy of creation and co-creation. With this, we are the champions. This needs no introduction. We already all know it. So we will be weaving that in throughout the week here where March to the Beat will continue, and we'll tune into the inspiration we have here from both Freddie Mercury, Queen for We Are the Champions, and of course, the much needed peace and harmony frequency. So I thought I would put them in our backdrop. And then with that, I was inspired to bring in from Angelic Celestial Colors our Sapphire Peace and Reconciliation Aura Energy Spray. So I'm going to infuse this altar space as well as sending it out into the collective, to the wider world, this frequency of peace and reconciliation. So, so needed in our world. So if we can all bring in that frequency this week, and always, but definitely wanting to tune into that frequency this week, that would be amazing. The more of us that collectively put our intention into a thing, that we are able to envision how we can be peace and be harmony in this world at all times. And I know that that can be very difficult. And that is why I'm so glad that you are here to bring in the highest available frequency that we tune into as a collective for some insight and guidance on how best to move through these energetic times as we are birthing new Earth. So with that, let's talk about Earth with the beautiful seasons of the witch, 𝓘𝓷𝓽𝓾, and see what wants to kick off the conversation now that the wheel has turned and it is officially spring or autumn, depending on where you are in the world. I'm very excited to be kicking off the spring equinox readings. I shared a very exclusive sneak peek to those who had already booked one of those readings. On Friday, we tuned in under the peaking of equinox and its arrival. We tuned in onto the beautiful spring equinox altar that's just over my shoulder here. And Sacred Circle just gave us a wink. And we got the card from this deck that is a sacred altar space. So that was pretty cool because that's exactly what we were doing, was setting a sacred altar space. So anyone who is receiving or would like to receive that spring equinox reading, I'm going to begin those personal messages being recorded on Monday, tomorrow. So plenty of time. I'm going to be offering that throughout the season here for the next probably through May, typically. And then we get ready to turn that wheel again at the end of June for solstice. So if you are interested in some personal guidance for the incoming season that reflects back on where we've just come from and how you can best tend to your spiritual garden this season, check out that spring equinox reading. So let's see what's coming forward here from the 𝓘𝓷𝓽𝓮 Oracle. For our collective this week. Ooh, Lamb, card 23. Nothing is ever late and everything is as it should be. Trust the South. Wow. Okay. So that's interesting because I was thinking, with the equinox happening on Friday, I was actually heading out of town this weekend for a family commitment. And so my thought that, I've got to get to these readings. I'm very excited to tune in. I want to get the altar set and all the things, and having that sense of time fleeting and feeling behind or not wanting to get behind. And actually it all worked out very divinely. Beautiful altar space came forward, some collective messages to get us started, and then we will proceed into the week ahead. So that's definitely pinging for me on that level. But I look forward to seeing in just a bit here when we tune in for the messages, what Lamb is bringing in for us for this week here. Seen those daffodils too. Beautiful. Okay, let's tune in to our Gentle Tarot deck for one last week here. This is also the deck that I will pull from if you would like a personal card pull this week as we go through these 5 cards and the intentions for them, which the days of the week are simply placeholders. We kind of weave a story here together as it's bringing forward the energies that are coming in for the collective this week. So if you are feeling like you need some additional personal guidance, please feel free to reach out to me in whatever way works for you. And I will be on this week to record a personal card pull just for you that I send to you in a private video. So let's see what's coming in here to start that conversation with Monday, which sort of sets the week into motion. And it's also the first full week of Aries season, so bringing the fire. So let's see what is coming up Monday. Speaking of fire, we've seen this one already. Root of Wands. So this is the Knight of Wands coming in, fiery. Knight of Wands coming in here with a message for this week, which is really starting to get those burners going. That fiery energy that's coming in to begin to ignite and create some movement and momentum. So we'll talk about that Root of Wands. And now let's see what's coming in for Tuesday, which denotes a potential block or challenge this week, a potential block or challenge that we may encounter this week. I'm not worried about it because the 6 of Wands from Freddie already says we are the champions. Victory and success is at hand, and peace and harmony is in the backdrop. Okay, we've got the High Priestess. So this is our wise self, our intuitive self, listening to that voice, but also the unseen. And so, being that this can be a potential block or challenge, and this gives me eclipse vibes, I think there's some of that, the things that were shook up and set into motion from eclipse season, which has now officially closed with the arrival of last week's new moon in Pisces. We begin a new cycle, and yet things that have been stirred up or realigned, sometimes in rather abrupt ways, in sweeping ways, many different, and the owl too has been coming in as a totem. So there is about our vision and our perspective and some other things I'm feeling that when we speak about Tuesday, we'll be tuning into. But this is a significant energy. This is major arcana. And we know, if you've been around, what the High Priestess says is, what are you asking me for? You already know. So there is an energy of, we have had the answer, but it's the acting on the answer that we can sometimes stew on and stir around and delay out of overthinking, questioning, entertaining the ego, a whole host of reasons that we may ignore that still voice within. So we'll talk about that, but I'm feeling that as we initially connect in with the incoming energies for this week. So on the other side of that, we have Wednesday's card, which is a midweek blessing. A midweek blessing. That was Temperance, so that is mid. That's finding the middle of the week, Wednesday. Let's just shuffle up a bit here. Wednesday's midweek blessing. What do we need to know about the blessings coming in this week? The Chariot. Wow. Okay, so this is another major arcana. Gorgeous. We have not seen this yet this month. What a cool chariot. So this is another major arcana card. Major arcana, the big secrets, right? Pay attention. Significant stops on our fool's journey. And this one creates that movement and momentum that we were talking, that the Root of Wands is ushering in. This is about that starting to get going, revving up those engines. So I do think there's a blessing in, now that Mercury has stationed direct, now that the wheel has turned and we are officially in Aries season, it is the new astrological year. I think that is bringing in this energy of getting things moving, like the Chariot rolling forward. So we'll tune into that one for Wednesday. Thursday is always very insightful because it is how we are growing. And not just this week, anytime that we're at these pivotal moments where it's reflecting back on perhaps how have we grown throughout the whole of last astrological year, throughout Pisces season ahead before, we moved into Aries, and this whole month of March, and in all of the ways in which we are growing as a collective, and then for you individually, what's speaking to you. So let's see what's coming forward with Thursday's energy for how we are growing, how we have grown, how we may expect to grow as we go. This one came up last week in a personal card pull. Beautiful. Loving that energy of the rainbow. And the first thing I'm seeing is an as above, so below kind of energy between the blessing and the growth that's coming here. So this is the Harvest of Cups, which is the King of Cups traditionally in the tarot, which is about really embodying the best, the spirit of the cups suit, which of course is the heart, which is the emotions, the flow. It's the element of water. We've just come through a heck of a Pisces season, right? And we did so in record fashion with 7 planetary aspects in the sign of Pisces as we move through that Pisces new moon last week. So water everywhere. And it's interesting because I just saw today, because I was away, I haven't really been online, but I believe that there is a significant International Water Day or something today that is a tribute to water. I was going to be checking that out later because I have a beautiful retro reel that I created several years ago about the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto and the amazing messages in water from his, if you're familiar with his work about water taking on the properties of the energies it is exposed to, the frequency of word, the frequency of, and so it's a fascinating, anyway, I will be sharing it regardless of whether it is a significant day, but any day is to celebrate the life-giving element of water. So interesting that we get the embodiment of that suit in the tarot coming as how we are growing, right? And an important stop along the way. So we will feel into that one. And then finally, Friday, what is coming in to finish off the week from the tarot messages? Then we'll pull our final oracle card. So what's coming in for Friday to wrap it all up? Last card I'll be pulling collectively from this deck. This is the time of year when I have so many beautiful decks that are seasonally appropriate and so fun to work with and beautiful. It gets hard to pick. I already know one deck for sure we're going to be using in April, but definitely we'll be lining up all of the greatest hits around here with a lot of fun decks and elements and things that we like to bring in this time of year. So definitely stay tuned for that next week. We'll be starting up a new Empowerment Sharecast for April. And of course, opening up the April Empowerment Pack, which is now booking. So if you're interested in coming along for April for some comprehensive guidance, do check that out as well. There we go, Friday. So Friday, oh, 3 of Wands, perfect, full circle, because we talked about the peace and harmony, that card with the number 12 being the frequency of 3, of collaboration, co-creation, coming together. 3 of Wands also bringing in the frequency of 3, which I like to see as past, present, future, all culminating here at once in this place where, as the High Priestess would have it, from a higher vantage point, looking out at the horizon and seeing where to from here, which is being informed by the past from where we came, as we stand here in the present, and we notice in the state that she's in, which is pantsless, very vulnerable, very real, very authentic, energy coming in here with being perhaps quite honest about those 3, past, present, future. So we will talk about that. And let's get our final card here for the week with our Songs of the Grandmothers. What is coming in for us to punctuate these messages from this beautiful deck? Let's see what's coming forward. Okay. Final card, Song of the Grandmothers. Which one wants to come? There we go. Oop, flip that over. Oh, Grandmother Hummingbird, joy. Happiness blossoms in gratitude and belief. It flowers for you. And to me, the hummingbird is always about the present moment, the sweetness and the joy in the present moment. As quickly and fleeting as the hummingbird moves around, there is that sweet spot, that sweet moment of connection that takes place. And I'm feeling that, with the 3 of Wands coming in, about being here now and being present, and of course, doing so from this joy-filled place. So much for us to look into here. Let's get started with some astrological weather for this week, and then we will roll into these cards. Let's check it out. All right, let's tune in for some energetic weather rolling through this week. We're going to start with the here and now, what has transpired on Sunday as I'm recording this. Mars trine Jupiter. So this was bringing in the energies of doors beginning to open when you choose to act with confidence. taking initiative creates visible movement in career plans or financial goals. I'm looking at you, Chariot, coming in as a midweek blessing, because that really feels like the type of movement and momentum that we're talking about. Effort feels amplified here, especially when you trust your preparation. 3 of Wands, about the past, present, future planning. So really feeling those cards already just with this first aspect. This makes for a favorable time to expand a project or pursue an opportunity that once felt intimidating. But this is really about stepping into our power and our confidence. Energy supporting here growth, leadership, and bold decisions. I mean, Freddie is here. We are the champions this week with the 6 of Wands. So when you combine courage with smart judgment, progress comes faster than expected, faster than the speed of light. Your determination can also inspire others, strengthening partnerships and shared success. So powerful aspect here and now as we step into this week. Also today, the 22nd, Sun conjunct Neptune. So this is bringing in stronger feelings around spiritual awareness. So you may have noticed here on Sunday, whenever you're tuning in, reflecting on the energies, your intuition becoming easier to trust. Interesting when we have the High Priestess showing up as a potential block or challenge this week. Subtle feelings, gut reactions carry meaningful guidance. So you may be feeling more sensitive to other people's emotions, which increases empathy. Logic and imagination blend together, making creativity flow naturally. So this is a supportive period for any activity that connects you with your inner world. Acts of kindness feeling fulfilling, slowing down and listening within helps to receive guidance that is easy to miss in busier moments. That is really talking about that High Priestess coming in with a challenge for us. And sometimes we call it a block or challenge. The challenge is challenging yourself, your higher self, challenging your conscious self to slow down and listen within in order to hear that guidance. Okay, kicking off the week with Monday, March 23rd, we've got Mercury conjunct the North Node, and this is number 3 of 3, where Mercury has now retraced his steps back through Pisces, and it was inevitable for the planet to meet with the North Node just one final time. So any inspiration that you've been ruminating on during retrograde, that can all feel ready to break free. Oh my gosh, can't stop, won't stop with the Freddie Mercury Queen references. I want to break free. Okay, love it. And so this is your opportunity to trust what intuition is really trying to tell you. Conversations today could feel fated, and right words at the right time could shift your entire perspective, like a light bulb moment going on there. So don't get stuck trying to rationalize every detail. Esoteric Pisces energy is just asking you to open up and let inspiration flow in. So stay open to the signs and synchronicities, reminding you, signs of the times being here as well with the frequency of peace and harmony. Now, March 25th, we have Sun conjunct Saturn. So this is going to be bringing in marking an annual day of challenges. I love that. As the Sun and Saturn align to test your resolve, strength, and inspiration. Because for the first time in 30 years, this powerful conjunction occurs in the assertive sign of Aries, making you and those around you less likely to back down from conflict. So while the day may feel heavy, remember that these solutions, the challenges rather, that present valuable opportunities and often concealed blessings. If difficulties expose weaknesses, then use the moment to seek out solutions, but do not give up. right? You can turn to elders or those with experience who can share their wisdom and courage with you. Focus on commitments, duties, long-term security, really bringing in some real importance with consistent follow through, which is really, this is Saturn. This is the tough love coming in here, calling for reliability and earning respect. Future plans benefit from careful organization and realistic pacing. And strong results grow from patience and responsible action instead of shortcuts. So owning your decisions brings credibility and trust. Discipline and integrity create foundations that remain firm over time. We had so many 7 of Cups last week that this is like standing by your choices and seeing them through with integrity is what that energy is amplifying there. Then the next day, March 26th, we have Venus conjunct Chiron. This is where old wounds around love, trust, or self-worth could resurface as Venus is aligning with the wounded healer Chiron. Now, since early 2019, the wounded healer has brought awareness to our collective and personal wounds around fighting to prove your worth. If you've worked with this energy and healed, you will have learned that you don't have to prove anything, right? You're enough simply because you exist. And this is the last time that they will meet in Aries for nearly 50 years. So how have you become an unapologetic example of what it's like to stop playing small? This is the time to step fully into your power. So that was also really feeling like our 6 of Wands. We are the champions of victory and success and claiming it boldly. Loving the alignments this week with the stars and the cards coming in. Also on the 26th, we have the moon conjunct Jupiter. So this is where emotions could feel lighter and more hopeful. Good news or a supportive gesture, bringing relief and reassurance. Even small positive moments shift the mood in a meaningful way. Social plans feel warm and welcoming, making it easier to enjoy time with others. Generosity flows naturally through encouragement or simple appreciation. Expressing gratitude strengthens relationships and attracts further positive experiences. When your focus stays on what is working, joy spreads and connections grow stronger. That's making me think of our beautiful grandmother hummingbird coming up this week with the frequency of joy. So beautiful energy for us to explore there. Finally, the 28th, we have Saturn sextile Pluto. This is where careful adjustments reinforce your foundation and strengthen long-term plans. Reviewing structures and correcting weaknesses creates greater stability. So what gets rebuilt now holds up better over time. Meeting challenges head-on builds resilience and self-trust. Growth comes through discipline and intentional change rather than quick fixes. Real influence develops as you transform what once felt difficult into something solid and controlled. All right, let's pull up our elements this week that are supporting us through music and through the signs. All right, so here we have our Melodic Moods Tarot energy bringing March to the Beats, artist and musings. We are the champions with Freddie Mercury, Queen, of course. This is the 6 of Wands, the card of victory, success, being seen, riding high, boldly, confidently. And partnered with that from Signs of the Times is this amazing peace, harmony, energy coming forward when it's needed more than ever with the frequency of the number 3. So I feel all kinds of nods and connection to cards we have here that have unfolded for the week that we'll be exploring. And of course, the much needed frequency of peace and harmony. So I'm going to share with you the message for this card from Signs of the Times. This peace sign is one of the most universally known symbols of peace. You are now entering a phase of leisure, unity, and harmony. Life is good, and you are experiencing a period of smooth sailing. It is important to be present, to truly appreciate and enjoy these moments. You're encouraged to embrace ease and this feeling of oneness. People may be easy to work with, and plans go off without a hitch. This card also speaks to your relationships improving, allowing you to be light and playful within them. There is contentment and joy in your life. When referring to the ups and downs of life, this card is a great representation of the ups. Instead of worrying about how long this will last or if it's too good to be true, bask in the comfort this energy brings. Now, this card also speaks to, and I love that this word that's on that beautiful sapphire bottle you see there, sapphire, peace and reconciliation. It says, reconciliations and apologies. Enjoy people and activities that make you happy. Peaceful endings that bring new beginnings inspired by life. Peace. Now, I mentioned in the card poll, if you saw my Signs of the Times pick a card last week, or if you would like to check it out, you can look back here on the Empowerment Sharecast or look below in the caption on YouTube if you're watching there for the link to that video with the reveal of the collective message and the 3 different positions, 1, 2, or 3 that you had to choose from. And the third position is we tuned into the violet ray of forgiveness and transmutation. So that's an energy that brought through a really beautiful message that is timeless and there for you if you feel guided to choose from any one of those positions or more. And as we come in here tonight, I have confirmed that it is in fact World Water Day, and I am resharing a reel that I've created in the past that is intended to honor the power of words and water in our world. And so I'm going to share that reel here. If you are tuning in live or on Sunday night, I'm going to be leaving it here for the evening. It's getting rather late here. And as I mentioned in the card polls, I was traveling all weekend. So it's time for me to wrap it up for the night. But I will be back at the top of the morning on Monday to tune in for our intuitive messages. Of course, if you're watching this retroactively, or if you are on one of my social media spaces, that'll be seamless for you. But I'm going to share here the reel, and I want to share with it my words that I brought through with it that are, being revived here on World Water Day in that spirit of the power of words and water. So I feel like not only this message, but a lot of that astrological weather we were just tuning into, there were some fantastic words in there. If I were just to make a word wall, starting with that peace sign, that symbol with those words of peace and harmony, and I start throwing in all of these other words of unity and smooth sailing and, all of that beautiful energy that was coming through reconciliation and forgiveness. And when we were talking about the aspects, I was like, wow, like what a word salad of amazing, when we were talking about greater stability and meeting challenges head on, and the notion that there was just so many positive words in there. I'm looking back to see, because as I was saying them, I was like, wow, these are some fantastic buzzwords that are coming through here around love, trust, self-worth, and so much more. And so you'll see in the reel exactly what I mean by the words. If you have never looked at the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto, it is absolutely fascinating. It is beautiful. It's inspirational about the power of water and our words and the meaning, the frequency that they hold, and how important it is to be intentional with them both. And, a beautiful gesture that you can do in our world is to literally work with water wherever you are in your own backyard, to speak into the water, to put intention into the water that then goes out and ripples out and connects with all of the waters of our planet in order to put forward our wishes of peace and harmony in the world. So looking here at my caption for the reel that I'll be sharing is brought in with that quote from Rumi that says, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." And of course, all throughout Pisces season, and as we've just moved through the emotional depths of that new moon last week, you may be finding, as I have, that you connect with the element of water, of clearing and cleansing and clarifying these energies, because indeed, water is the great clarifier, cleansing agent, and carrier of intentions. So you're being encouraged to immerse yourself today in the purifying power of water and the energy of flow. Now, this reel I'm going to show you could never do justice to the amazing work of Dr. Masaru Emoto, but it has moved and inspired me to offer this same drop in the ocean to send out a resonance for peace. And I invite you, implore you to do the same. Allow the crystals that you will see in this reel to reflect back to us the mighty power and potential each of us holds with the vibration of our words, intentions, and energy. As Dr. Masaru Emoto said, water carries our thoughts and prayers as you are water yourself. No matter where you are, your prayers will be carried to the rest of the world. And with that, I'm bringing in the element of water with flow in the aura sprays. And I'm going to share with you some of the channeled words here from Amanda Ellis. I'm spraying the water element now. It's so beautiful. It's fresh and clarifying. It has spearmint in it. From her words, you are 70% water. It responds to what you tell it. Any thought or feeling or statement you express to yourself is absorbed into it, your body. Over time, this leads to toxicity and dis-ease if the words you say are always negative, self-critical, or abusive. So by spraying and tuning into the water that flows through you, as I just have, and I'm sending that energetically to you, you can reprogram such thoughts easily and effortlessly. Affirm to yourself, all is well. I am happy, healthy, and abundant. Let the living force within you, which is water, hear that and use this spray to remind you that you use this affirmation as a meditative aid. It is one that can be used anywhere, anytime that emotional balance is required. I like to do this with the shower, and I will be sharing in April, as we say, April showers bring May flowers around this part. I like to share my shower meditation and cleansing that you can do. So I will be sharing that in the coming weeks, but you can literally use the water from your shower or bath to do a little intentional ritual while you wash, literally multitask. Because I know, as beautiful as it is to set aside, and important to set aside sacred and intentional time, in this busy, fast-paced world that we are in, it isn't always possible, but that doesn't mean that you can't contribute in that way. So that is a wonderful way that you can send that energy first inside and then out, and rippling out into the world. A final quote from Dr. Emoto: if all the people in the world can have love and gratitude, the pristine beauty of the earth will once again return. Please join in resonance for peace. Please join in resonance for love. Please join in resonance for harmony. Please join in resonance for compassion. Much love. Here is the reel, and I will be back in the morning with our intuitive messages from all of the cards for this week ahead. All right, let's begin our intuitive card messages here for the week with the Seasons of the Witch 𝓘𝓷𝓽𝓮 oracle message that's come forward to support us this week. The Lamb card, number 23, which is bringing forward vibrations of gentleness, patience, vulnerability, and trust. The oracle says lambs or young sheep are associated with the more Christian version of 𝓘𝓷 or Easter, but still beautifully represent the early days of spring. They symbolize innocence, purity, and vulnerability, just like the first sprouts of a seed. Lambs are trusting and submissive by nature and will approach your hand with joy and gentleness, waiting patiently for you to share your love with them. And when this card eases into your reading, it is to encourage you to approach your desires with the same gentle energy. When planting a seed, you must learn to trust that it will sprout when the time is right. Be patient, my darling. Your desire is still yours for the taking, but it is taking its sweet time and making sure the conditions are right. You are being asked to trust in the path you have found yourself upon. Divine timing is at work here. However, you may find your journey will move along just a bit faster by openly communicating your desires and needs. Open yourself to help from those around you, allowing yourself to be vulnerable and free in your expression. I'm seeing that 3 of Wands again in the buff. And recognize the power of allowing yourself to be seen. By sharing your feelings, you create opportunities for others to support your needs. Yeah, that's really, I love that that's carrying through the softness and the gentleness. I think Pisces, and especially the Pisces new moon last week, was about a softening of the energies and allowing yourself the divine timing, which yes, it does call for patience. And I know that's the P word around here, that it's like we're always being told to hurry up and wait, it seems, right? And it's difficult sometimes for us to align our clock with Spirit's clock of the divine timing. And this too may be a part of the challenge this week from your higher self, your wise self, because it's hard to wait. It's hard to trust. And we've talked many times about what we understand to be destiny, something that just happens outside of our control, actually being the desire of our highest self, our wise self, that behind the curtain is actually ourselves, that we have beautifully planned this entire unfoldment with Spirit and those with whom we have soul contracts to bring about exactly the circumstances, the dynamics, the relationships that our soul desires to experience in order to achieve what we've come to do this particular go round, to learn, grow, heal, and expand. So there's a softening there. So I love that energy. And of course, this card 23 is holding that 5 frequency of transition, the in-between. We've just moved from not only Pisces season to Aries season, but from the past astrological year to a new astrological year now kicking off. So we're in the by and by, right? We're in the in-between of still carrying forward, and I'm coming in here now on Monday, kicking off our week, and have already talked to a few people that, like me, there's still a little sleepiness. There's still a little something we're rubbing out of the corners of our eyes. It tends to be over here right now, a little overcast and rainy. And so it still has some of the, sleepy and dreamy Pisces energy, all while we can feel the fire coming in. And of course, that's going to be different for everyone, but there is a beautiful softening here with this energy that's understanding that we're never late. It's always divinely timed. And so whatever your desires, whatever seeds that you are gently looking to plant this season is all right on time, and to carry forward that faith and trust in just that. So let's take that with us as we step forward into our week ahead spread. All right, let's kick off the week with the Here and Now Monday, setting the tone for this first full week of Aries season in the new astrological year, and yet also the final full week of March, endings and new beginnings. So with that comes the action-oriented Root of Wands. So this is our Knight of Wands, bringing the Aries fire in here in a very beautiful way. And I'm going to be tuning in here. We've been checking in with the Gentle Tarot's take on these beautiful cards. And midway through the month, I realized I had the beautiful full-size book that expands upon these energies. So I'm referring to, and look at, oh wow, I love that fiery burnt orange, flame orange energy in there. Feels very Metatronic as well. That's where I'm referring to today. So I'm excited for us to be able to tune in. And oh yeah, I've mentioned this before. Something that's cool with these cards is they actually number the court cards as well. So see the Roman numeral 12 at the top, okay? And that's what we see being reflected here as this being card 12 of the wand suit, which we don't normally see our court cards numbered, but I say that because our peace card carries the 12 vibration, which is the number 3 in numerology, which is all about the co-creation, collaboration, and just that creative energy. And of course, we have over here our 3 of wands that's also feeling very connected. So pointing out that all 3 of these cards, and oh yeah, I love that with the orangey flame glow that's also on that peace harmony card, is all connected right here. I see right out the gate with 3 cards with the frequency of 3. So, Root of Wands, Knight of Wands. I remember how to orchestrate my fire. I actively create my reality. Once we've taken the leap to start, the fiery focus of our Root of Wands guides us towards recognizing the power of purpose. There's more control here than in the zest and adventure of our seed, which was the page, right? And so although our ermine relative may seem small in size, their willpower and passion move worlds. See the confidence in their gaze, the way their paw speaks to the flame. There is intention here, and it has moved out of the incubation phase. This is what I'm talking about. We're sort of emerging from our slumber, right? We're moving out of that incubation phase and into action, go time. You're capable of creating and remastering the energy around you. This is a call to bring focus and a clear path to your goals and desires. You've started this fire from a sacred place, from thought to preparation, from spark to flame. Our spirit asks us to step into our power, to learn the lessons that line our path and grow our roots deep so that when the storm comes, we are steadfast and know our course. Feel your fire as it warms your hands. See how the glow dances before you. This same fire is in your chest, divinely stoked, ever ready. So there's guidance here to take some time to connect with the passion and the drive that is within you. Soak in its birthplace and remember how this magic is a beautiful reflection of you. What callings are you ready to manifest? What are the best routes to take? How can you pace yourself so that your determination can best serve you without burnout? What are some ways you can celebrate the small victories and steps of your path? I think those are some important questions there at the end for reflection, because I think the pace yourself, and it's funny because I brought that word up. I was talking to some spiritual friends the other day, and we were speaking to that patience word that came up, because you might remember that last week when we tuned into the new moon, I shared one of the key overarching energies of that lunation in Pisces was that patience, right? So we were talking and laughing about the fact that we often get told by spirit, patience, patience, and all those P words. And so to that, I heard pace, finding our pace or pacing ourselves. And so maybe that feels a little more. Patience may make it sound like nothing's happening or I'm still in a holding pattern or waiting, when actually pace feels like I'm pacing myself. I'm taking intentional steps. I'm doing things that foster what it is that I've been incubating and I wish to cultivate and bring forward at a pace that feels aligned with my energy and the energies that I am aligned with. And what I was getting while I was reading that about our root of wands with that fire, the way he's holding the hand up to the fire or the paw up to the fire, that there's something about the way that we build fires, right? And thinking about that as an analogy, I was not a Girl Scout, but I was a camp counselor, and I went through a leadership training that involves a little bit of my claim to fame with my kids that don't believe that I was outdoorsy and that I was like, hiking on the Appalachian Trail for days and all the things, my old stories, from long, long ago. But wonderful, wonderful memories. And with that came at a time knowing how to build certain types of fires, whether it be a box fire, a teepee fire, or the different types of fires, just like tying knots, right? And so the way that we would build different types of fires for the purpose, the intention of that fire. Is it for cooking? Is it for warmth? Is it for gathering? And so we might be building a very different fire depending on what it is that we are creating, what we are calling in. So sort of thinking about that in terms of each one of us have our unique spark, our unique flame, and we're all in the process of building, creating, and co-creating different things. And so that's where it's about tuning into what are you looking to build. And then what type of fire? Are we talking about a slow burn? Are we talking about a big bonfire? Because there's a setting of a pace that the root of wands is bringing in here for us to contemplate and then execute as we are ramping up. So let's take that little flame of potential, that spark of inspiration, and take a look at the following cards for our week now in progress. All right, Tuesday represents a potential block or challenge this week coming from who? Sorry, had to do that with the owl. Who? You, your wise self, representing your intuition, representing the unseen, and the wisdom of the owl coming in here as the high priestess. I love this card, this take on this beautiful energy that is a significant stop in our week that is setting forward this tone with some major arcana energy, the high priestess. And we were kind of tuning into what the challenge might be when we were talking in the astrological weather and different aspects that are coming forward this week that could very well be inviting us to challenge ourselves, to take a step, to trust in our inner knowing, to go within for the answers as opposed to without. I also mentioned the nod to eclipse season that I was seeing here and to the eclipses that we've moved through and what may have been a catalyst in your life through eclipse season that we may now be looking to elevate with higher self. So let's take a look at the Gentle Tarot's take now of this beautiful high priestess with this mantra: I travel silently between the seen and unseen realms. Here I discover more of myself. I embody the transcendent nature of the owl, who in the quiet depth of night sees in the dark. I travel fluidly between exterior and interior realms. I see deeper meaning and connections clearly. The high priestess presents us with a meditation of what's going on underneath the hidden stories that direct our actions and responses. This is a place of potential, magic, and deep healing. Between the seen and the unseen is where we connect more deeply with our purpose and our soul. No need to fear or doubt while you journey into the dark layers. Unlike the magician, who inspires action, the high priestess offers us calm, silent reflection. There's a power in tending to our inner work, allowing our desires to manifest from stillness, gives them the space that they need to fruitfully come wholly into being. And here we can meditate with the great horned owl as she perches, looking almost as if she's waiting for you to give your authentic hoot back. Enter her space and be comfortable with the depths of your being. It is important to spend time here. The darkness of the new moon supports going within, and the cosmic night rainbow is hugging you as always. Go ahead and spin, soar through the cosmos, wrapped in your light. Trust your instincts. Listen to the knots that will feel so good to unravel. Approach your observations with compassion and kindness for your dear heart. Interesting, I just mentioned tying different types of knots, and then it's speaking to the knots unraveling, because have we tied ourselves up into knots, maybe being too technical, maybe being too by the book in terms of, well, what's the right way to do it versus the intuitive way that I feel guided? I'm getting a little nudge there. I'm going to share the reversed message of this card, since this does represent a challenge or something that could be out of alignment or coming up as a block. Let's see, what's coming through there. But of course, as we've been tuning in, a challenge to connect with our inner knowing, and quieting the noise on the outside is definitely a huge piece of what's coming in here just intuitively. If the hustle and bustle has been too noisy and too full, make some time for silence. Yeah. We often bury the tough thoughts. This card inspires us to wipe away the dust and listen. If you have been avoiding this internal conversation, no worries. Embrace wherever you are on your path. If you feel like you can try, feel free to list your doubts, internal conflicts, or buried desires. All are wholly yours, and they are building blocks for your intuition and spark. How can you be more compassionate with yourself and love where you are now? If there is pain in allowing your intuitive voice to surface, please be gentle with yourself. Seek support. Allow yourself to trust your instincts and surround yourself with those that encourage your independence and spiritual growth. Yeah, it really is about coming back into wholeness with yourself, and that mystery behind the curtain, the illusory, the things that, we were unable to see or perceive of perhaps in watery Pisces season, and the things that remain sort of unclear are beginning to solidify, to come together, to streamline in a way of greater clarity, of inner knowing. But how do we hear that? How do we see that? With our going within, quieting the noise outside, using our senses. So this is an extension of what we were tuning into last week with the aromatherapy and our senses and all the fun that we did with the Signs of the Times pick a card and the flashback to decades gone by. So feeling all of that coming in more as a challenge, like we're challenging ourselves, not so much a block. But yes, of course, for some, feeling like I don't know what that answer is. I keep asking and then listening, and I'm not getting it. I'm not hearing anything. That type of thing. And I think that, of course, this great horned owl makes such a great symbolism of that between the keen hearing and seeing of the owl, these amplified and enhanced senses, and really connecting in with the high sensitivity and inner knowing, and taking advantage of the, we talked about this time being like the thinning of the veil, and being able to connect in more directly with those aspects of self and spirit. So moving through that. And of course, again, as we go through these cards, if anything is specifically jumping out to you or areas of life that are pinging for you this week and you would like a personal card pull, feel free to let me know and we'll tune in more specifically to you. Let's take a look now at our midweek blessing. All right, just from Tuesday, we move to Wednesday for our midweek blessing, and we go just down the road a bit to the Chariot. So from number 2, the energy of High Priestess, we navigate to the 7 frequency of the Chariot coming in here, beautifully depicted with this bear and fish. Salmon, most likely. So as we tune into the Chariot, the mantra, I step into confident action with ease. Triumph is in my blood. I am confident action and trusting ease. So the Chariot seeks to connect us with the shining, ever-present, self-assuring gems in our soul's pocket. Steady and ready, ready when we are. This card is about remembering that success not only follows clear guided action, but also more importantly follows trusting the precise moment for action. There we are again with the pace, with the patience, with the divine timing. Like the water of a river that twists and turns, constantly flowing, our path is in contact flux. The grizzly stands still in the water's flow. Steadily, she waits to feel the push of water from the salmon swimming upstream. She waits, then strikes when the moment is right. There is craft, confidence, and tension-free space, a knowing. Similarly, we can know what we are made of, trust in our timing, and direct our lives towards joy. The Chariot card speaks, I've got this. I was made for this. I understand what I need, and I know how to get there. My plan of action can be as clear as I want it to be. My powerful paws and claws can be as precise as I want them to be. Distraction doesn't fool me. The Chariot is my guide. So this is an energy coming in as a blessing this week. What goal or plan currently lights your fire? Are you trusting your movements? Could you benefit from grizzly energy and be inspired by the calm that allows for perfection? Would focusing on timing help your next move? What is your next move? I think that's so interesting that how it was describing the way that the grizzly catches the salmon is by feeling those very subtle changes in the water's flow, knowing that that's what happens before the fish appear. Again, this muscle memory, tuning into vibrations and sensitivities that are outside of the mind, outside of rationalization. It's energetic. And so also feeling like alternative ways to fuel ourselves, not just with the mind, and likening that to the Chariot being like automobiles and just very topical with fuel and things that are coming into question on the collective and world stage, and alternative means and things like that, and using our senses and also conserving our energy for meaningful action. So I think there's a blessing in all of that that's coming forward here for us, as well as any other connection you may have with the grizzly, for example. This one, she's giving us a little history on the symbolism of what she brought forward here. This is Mari from the Gentle Tarot, that is about this being inspired by the prowess of a grandma grizzly that she coexisted with while working remotely on Kodiak Island in Alaska. And she's talking about the experience that she had living there by the river, and the way that Oh, she refers to her as chocolate thunder. I'm just looking through what she has here in the story. Early mornings, she can be seen warming up with the sun's rays in the shallows of the river, scratching herself as if, did I just say this? Rubbing the sleepies out of her eyes, patiently on the hunt for breakfast. Yeah, so bears fishing and then catching 2 fish in one bite being an anomaly that she had not seen before or often. And this is the craft and depth of harmony in Chocolate Thunder, the retired grandmother bear that all other bears respect. She holds the prime fishing spot. Other bears smell her, there we go with the senses again, smell her from a 1/4 mile away and literally retrace their steps backwards. She is so relaxed in her confidence that one could easily mistake her for just sleepy. But to see her in her moment of action is clearly, to clearly see her fierce, precise essence. Wow. So this is really, you know, I just follow my intuition if I think it's important to share or there's a little nugget in there, and I just felt to read on. And I feel like that's really describing how we started with these messages about coming out of hibernation, out of incubation, rubbing the sleep out of our eyes and finding our, you know, re-energizing and powering up to make aligned moves, but being very thoughtful and intentional with the moves we make. We're not just jumping in the chariot and peeling out of there. We're planning this road trip and we're making sure that we have everything we need to, you know, really set us up for success, even though we know that there are unforeseen things. Well, I like to say with the chariot, you know, just like any road trip, we can't control the weather. We can't control the traffic or the detours, the construction. We're only responsible for the grizzly grandma in the front seat, right? Who's behind the driving wheel and how am I going to take this journey? I'm going to use my senses. I'm going to be bold and courageous and confident in my moves because I know that they are intentional and aligned with my inner wisdom and my team spirit. So there's a blessing in that this week for sure. Let's take a look now at Thursday's energy for how we are growing. All right, Thursday, how are we growing? How have we grown? How might we grow? Harvest of Cups coming forward like the King of Cups in the traditional tarot. This is bringing forward a 14 energy, because, as I mentioned, this deck beautifully has numbered those court cards, which is giving us an added reference from a numerological standpoint. 1 + 4 is 5, just like our Lamb energy of 23 over here, which is giving us that frequency of change, transition, in between, freedom, liberation, the 5th chakra, the throat chakra, expressing ourselves, flow, of course, cups, bringing us into the element of water. So our Harvest of Cups says, my spirit is already at the top of this mountain. I simply have to meet it there. I love that because it's saying that physically in this moment, what meets the eye, I see myself in this now moment and I'm not yet where I wish to be. I'm no longer where I once was. This is the transition energy. I'm no longer where I once was, not yet where I wish to be, but my spirit is already there, already at the top of the mountain, already prepared a space for me to align my energy with it and in divine timing, achieve it. So that's really powerful as we grow. The message says, no matter the cliffs or mountaintops, internally we know the way and we are supported. The loving assurance in Harvest's eyes reconnect us with the confidence and emotional maturity that is already present within us. With the Harvest of Cups, we sit with the wisdom and remember our innate connection to subtle energies. From seed to root, flower to harvest, we have been through stages of emotional and internal growth that developed our confidence and a dignified sense of self. Here we take a moment to truly embody these qualities, knowing that they are always there when we need them. An important ingredient of emotional maturity is being accepting of all people and all limitations. When we allow wisdom and compassion to guide us, we are able to see people and situations in a more wholesome and balanced way. It is also important to remember that when climbing a mountain, sure footing is necessary. And this alludes to knowing when boundaries are required and being in touch with subtle energies to further direct us in a way that is healthy for ourselves first. Being in touch with subtle energies to further direct us. Again, we really are being guided to tune into those subtle energies, frequencies to our senses. It's opening up for many of us a whole different way to move about, right? To perceive of and to be in this world with our senses. This is also a gentle reminder to choose calm over storm. The serenity in Harvest's eyes matches their grounded steps as they make their way over this mountain. We are encouraged to lead by peaceful example. And this is bringing in for us a message around if there's a situation that has been taking up your energy, the Harvest of Cups asks if we are engaging with compassion and maturity. Are we listening to our inner wisdom? Are we processing before reacting? Are we taking into account the other's situation and state of being? If this is a moment of self-reflection, we are asked to think about how connected we are to subtle energies and our emotional state. Are we in touch with our inner guide? Let's celebrate our growth and practice the confidence we possess. So this is bringing forward potentially for some an example of an emotional situation that is handled with wisdom and ease, with grounded responses and compassion for others. Because of course, the Harvest of Cups represents the embodiment of that suit, of the heart, of the flow of feels and emotion in our lives, but in this really beautiful sensory way. And yes, I noticed there that it's talking about how our inner self, are we in touch with our inner guide, right? This is where we have our higher self coming in to say who, right? And to connect in with it's you, within you, right? We don't have to climb to the top of the mountain in order to be there because it's already with us. We're already carrying it forward. And so I love that symbolism. And then I'm thrilled that finding this guide that I had and never realized I had yet to really, explore this beautiful guide. It now helps to clarify what I was wondering last week when this card came up for a friend of mine and we were chatting about it. And I wanted to identify just what animal was featured here. And so again, delving into the art symbolism, Mari talks about due to their high elevation, alpine habitat where cliffs and ice are commonplace, mountain goats are the true master climbers, successfully adapted to extreme winter conditions. Personally, they impress me on many levels, especially with their precision and body control, which is needed to climb the way that they do. And it's truly awe-inspiring. While revisiting what the traditional King of Cups represents, the mountain goat surfaced in my mind. And having a refined sense of self, being in touch with the present environment, and with the options available in an ice or cliff climb situation, all stood out like the perfect guide to lead us to the top of our own emotion-laden mountains. The look that the goat is giving us is one full of love and confidence, reassuring us that we have the ability to move forward and truly assess the situation around us. The look is like a reflection. The mountain goat sees the same maturity within each of us. The broad, prominent rainbow above reflects on Harvest's back, signifying the spiritual connection that already exists both outside and inside of us. We simply have to recognize and remember our inner wisdom to energize it. There's also a light snow falling here, and so that adds to the relaxation and ease we can embody when approaching a situation, enabling us to better ground ourselves and respond with the best version of ourselves. Beautiful. So I feel in that all the cards, but especially these two major arcana, significant energies, along with this one. I love the rainbow continuation there, because we talked about tuning into that wise self, knowing that it is already with us. We carry it right here, even as above, so below, already there at the top of the mountain. And we talked about these energies of ease into and the softly falling snow, definitely amplifying that. But then also a very important key aspect here being from the Chariot is which version of me is in the driver's seat. Right. And so that was just saying the very same sentiment about, which aspect of me is leading the climb, right? Everybody's in the car, right? We're all on the Chariot, or we're all here as a part of the whole, aspects of ourself. And yet who is leading the charge? And that's, some of the questions for reflection that we're receiving here as we march to the beat in this continuation of this month and into this new astrological year. So let's finish all that out with the other card that I feel it being a beautiful transition toward, from the here and now, from where we came in the past, where we find ourselves at present, and where to from here with our Friday message. All right, Friday, wrapping up the tarot messages for this week, coming in as the Three of Wands. So fire coming in, frequency of 3 for creation, co-creation, collaboration. In this case, past, present, future, planning. Now that I'm on my path and the beating of my heart guides me, I make sure to rise above for the best vantage point so that my path continues to stay in alignment with who I am. Highest vantage point, higher self, our highest self who sees and knows the full picture of the full spectrum, the full panoramic view. That's where I endeavor to be, just like my mountain goat carrying me forward there. The mantra here says, I create space as expansive as the horizon so that my decisions are met with the grace they deserve. It's important to take a step back and look at the wider picture. Assess your options, sit with them, allow your inner guidance to direct you. There is no limit to where you can take yourself. Sometimes we get stuck on the islands of our mind. Embody the horizon where vision blurs into infinity. Let its vastness soak in. We have the freedom to imagine and create any reality. There are challenges and there are risks, but there is also a fire in your soul that knows what it wants to do in this lifetime. Whether your desires are large or small, they are important. And know that stepping aside and removing the noise of whatever is directly in front of you is another tool in your ethereal backpack. Use it when you need it. Take the pressure off. Envision your life with all stressors aside. All steps, whether they require movement or being still, are powerful steps. Embrace the expansiveness of the horizon and remember that you have the power to decide. What do you seek? What is calling you? Have you made space for devising a way to get there? And so a message that comes forward here in summarizing this as we've moved through this week here in the messages is, if there is a pressing situation at hand, now is a good time to consciously remove yourself from it to better assess your next step. If there are desires for a course change in your life, allow yourself to breathe space into your mind and heart so that you can weigh your options and potential routes. It can be helpful to write down these desires and their potential routes. Which ones pull your heart the most? If there is stress or too much urgency, remove yourself enough to restore a relaxed, grounded perspective. Yeah, so there's definitely a rising above, removing, stepping back, and going up, zooming out guidance here in terms of assessing the situation and determining, right? And again, this brings us full circle to what kind of a fire are we building? Are we fostering? Are we tending to? And then you're going to plan and execute accordingly, which has absolutely nothing to do with what anybody else, people, places, or things outside of you think that you ought to be doing, or what kind of fire you would be best to build. That's not in the equation. This is about you stepping away from the fray of any of that noise, really, distraction, energy, unsolicited advice, to thanks but no thanks. As for me, I'll be up here in my birthday suit assessing the horizon, past, present, future, all at once in this really beautiful way. Now, she brings forward symbolism here that's inspired by the classic Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, Three of Wands, taking on this Aleutian Island life backdrop. Again, this is an Alaskan native deck, so it's speaking to that beautiful backdrop here. Retaining the fiery colors of the sky, as in our Ace and Two of Wands. So as we step into the suit of the element of fire, the Ace and the Two, which precede this Three, also show the fiery colors of the sky. You embrace the energized beginning of the Wands path and the excitement of initial steps towards creative freedom. The figure looks out beyond the two arms of land before them. The bay is covered in warm, sunny familiarity. The horizon beckons, all of nature responds, and the energetic lines throughout the image convey magnetic pull and expansion. The wormwood that we see here, which are acting as the wands, the three stalks of wormwood there, is standing with the figure as if they are also heavily involved in the situation at hand. They too look out across the water. There is community and friendship here. The sun is bright. It is beginning to set. This allows for a healthy amount of urgency. Timing is important, as is the wider perspective. Yeah, so, we might be pacing ourselves, planning out, and yet time is of the essence, because there is an opportunity for you to harness this power and to make aligned choices for yourself, taking action. And I think that's beautiful how it was speaking to the wormwood as the wands, as being right there with you, also taking in the horizon. You're not alone. Past, present, and future do inform you and create framework for you. But the ultimate choice is from you, and from where within me am I making that choice, which brings us full circle back into the Chariot and who is behind the driver's seat. And your higher self says, "Who? Hello, it's me." So anyway, I digress. You can see in the daytime now that I've had my coffee, punchiness ensues, but I hope that you're here for it, because I think there's some really beautiful messages that come in between that take us from the Three of Wands in this planning and pacing phase to the Root of Wands, executing and taking action with that fire, with intention of what I'm building. So a beautiful full spectrum that we've gone on here this week, just with these cards. And we've got one left. We're going to tune into the grandmother hummingbird energy to finish us off for the week. And then again, if you have a desire for more clarity, or to weigh anything that's coming up for you out through the lens of the tarot, and you would like a personal card pull this week, please let me know, and I will be on to pull a card just for you. If there's any certain areas of life or particular cards that are pinging for you, do let me know, and I will be in touch there. But let's finish things off with our grandmother hummingbird message. All right, our final oracle message to wrap up our week ahead is grandmother hummingbird with the frequency of joy. Vivacious and exuberant, grandmother hummingbird radiates joy through the rainbow vibration extending beyond her tiny body. Here, she approaches striking purple blooms, ready to drink the honeyed nectar that keeps her alive. She never doubts flowers will continue to appear in her path when she needs them. We often see happiness as an end goal, yet even when it comes, we may find our euphoria marred by feelings of guilt, irresponsibility, or worry for when the other shoe will drop. Grandmother Hummingbird entices a different focus. Instead, ground your joy in gratitude. Stay aloft with her by spreading love wherever and however you feel inspired to do so. She hums into your presence to remind you happiness is your birthright. But don't mistake her message. If and when you feel unhappy, you are not being punished or condemned. Anything that says otherwise is a lie and unworthy of your attention. Instead of censoring, visualize yourself as a flower and ask Grandmother Hummingbird to land on your head. Allow her soothing vibration to travel through your body and notice where it gets stuck. Send your attention there. Ask her to help you name and release whatever is blocking your joy. Thank her with love and carry on with a lighter heart. She says, "Your natural state is a joy, my dear. Allow yourself to partake in it fully and appreciate when it comes. This practice will sustain you during the flight between one happy moment and the next." That's beautiful. I love that we bring in the lightness and the frequency of joy here with the grandmothers. And, you know, really speaking to some of the things that we're tapping into the whole way about, I love that reference there to the crown chakra with placing her on your head and thinking about, I was thinking of the joy aura spray and I'm going to use a variation of that here, which is my Bob Marley One Love energy, which is the joy frequency with the don't worry about a thing because every little thing's going to be all right, my dear, she says. So let me spray that because I was feeling some things as I was reading that in myself. If I had challenged myself to do that exercise and I sprayed the joy over my crown and I'm radiating and sending that energy out for you, in that letting that travel through your body and see where it gets stuck. And I thought to myself, you know, I have two areas right now that are really irking me this morning, and it probably comes from being away this weekend and sleeping in a hotel bed and all the things, but I have this knot between my shoulder blades, and I have this ache in my lower left back above my hip. And so right away, I thought to myself, just as this exercise, and I'm just going into a little, you know, I'm entertaining this a little bit to share with you because I was feeling, you know, what would that be for me if I just had to think off the cuff, and that exercise wanting us to envision it, right? Notice where it gets stuck and then put your attention there and ask her to help you name and release whatever is blocking your joy. Well, of course, whenever we're feeling anything in the shoulders, shoulder blades, in the center of my back, it asks us to consider what we're shouldering, what we're carrying, and in what way are there things that we may be carrying that are weighing us down, causing that imbalance, that it might have us reflect for a moment on, you know, what it is that we've been shouldering that is not necessary for us to carry along with us or to carry alone, or however that could be coming up for you. So I'm just giving you kind of like a off the cuff example of what was coming for me. And then my lower back, and specifically the left-hand side. So that's going to talk about your, the divine feminine, the side of mother, and maternal energies. So that is about the yin of receiving and allowing ourselves to receive, and the base being at the base of my back feels like root chakra stuff, right? Base chakra stuff, safety, security, material abundance, having enough, being enough, you know, having that confidence. And so that's just like a quick example of how the grandmother hummingbird is coming through here in a way that we could work with it more intentionally using your senses. And of course, you don't need to have the aura energy spray. Whatever works for you in placing your hand on the top of your head, on your crown. I love the yellow, because the yellow does feel like a frequency of joy. And so if there is something like a crystal or something in the color yellow that speaks to you that you could bring in from the top, from the crown, and allow it to move through your body while checking in where it gets stuck. And just taking a moment or two to reflect on that. And you can take that moment or two as far as you like if you want to journal about it, or whatever works for you. But I think that's a beautiful little exercise coming in for us there on the back end for some intentional work this week too. So with that, I leave you with these week ahead thoughts, and I am about to dive into some spring equinox readings. So just a reminder that those readings are just kicking off. If you would like to join, I'm going to be tuning in for the different altar elements that came forward through the flora, the crystal garden energy, and the fauna and familiar cards that have already come forward to channel those equinox messages, and then personal card pulls and messages coming on the other side. So if you're interested in joining me for that, do check out the link for booking the spring equinox reading, and then also the bundle discount that's available with that reading if you are coming along or would like to come along for April's Empowerment Pack, which, believe it or not, will be kicking off just next week. All right, everyone, have a beautiful week, and we will talk soon. Much love.